Talking about Zayed University, we're talking about education, and I have Dr. Larry Wilson joining me in studio. He's the Provost of Zayed University, and one of the things when I think of Zayed University, and people around the world talk about this, it's a program that you introduced called Women as Global Leaders. And we're heading into the fourth round of that, the fourth conference in March. Tell us a little bit about how this all got started and why you thought this was a good thing to do.
Well, this is one of my favorite topics, James, so thanks for asking. It really began in 2003 when I was talking with a group of our students, and we were talking about the global focus that our general education, our colloquy program has, and they were saying, you know, sir, we wish we knew more about other countries. And so I got to thinking about that, and the first thing we did was to cook up some class video conferences. We had a group in Japan and another in the United States with a group of our students would talk with a group of college students there. And then I thought, well, why don't we bring some of these people here? So I talked to our then Vice President, Dr. Hanif Al-Qasimi, and I said, Dr. Hanif, I think we ought to have a conference, an international conference, and since we're a women's university, let's say Women as Global Leaders. So we set out to do that. And we had no idea what would happen, how many people would come. You're always a little nervous when you do this kind of event because we immediately proclaimed it as the first annual, a little bit brash. And lo and behold, that first year we had about 900 students from I think 45 countries, something like that.
This was held at the Emirates Palace.
The first one was at in Jumeirah in Dubai.
Oh, that's right, at the Jumeirah Beach Hotel.
Right,
yeah.
At the Jumeirah Beach Hotel, yeah, and it was quite a successful event. Yeah. And I've noticed that some of our students, some of our UAE students from then, 2004, still are in contact, mostly by email or now SMS, with friends they made at that conference. So we thought, well, we can be at the first annual, let's have the second annual. So we did, and that was in 2006. That conference drew 1,500 students from 87 countries, and that's when we held at the Emirates Palace in Abu Dhabi. And I mean, it was a smashing success. I've had really two memorable things that come out of those early Women as Global Leaders conference. The first one was when we had a group of students from Harvard, actually, from the United States. We had 250 or 300 students from the United States came for that conference. But some of our students were talking to the Harvard students, and pretty soon when I heard one of the Harvard University students say to ours, you know more about our country than we do. And I thought, yeah, right on. And then, would you know, just this past summer, I had an email from a student from North Carolina who came to the second WAGL conference, 2006. And she said, sir, I want to tell you that WAGL changed my life.
Really?
I wanted to be a clinical psychologist. I now work in human rights for the United Nations.
Well, that's spectacular.
And she said, I decided after that WAGL, that was something I wanted to do. So it's changed lives, and it's exciting. And now, of course, we're planning for the fourth one in March of 2012. And we're getting a lot of responses, and we're expecting another gala conference. That'll be in Abu Dhabi on our new campus there.
Which is a really, I want to go back to the one that's coming up. The theme of this WAGL, and that's 13th to the 15th of March, is creating a sustainable future for the world.
Right.
That's a pretty daunting.
Ambitious, right?
Yeah, it is.
Well, you know, this is the country that thinks big, and we want to be part of that. And when we said Women as Global Leaders, we meant Women as Global Leaders. We've had some fantastic people come as speakers at the Women as Global Leaders, WAGL as we call it. You know, the first one we had 4, and we focus on women speakers since it's a women's conference.
Is it only women who attend the conference?
No, men can come too, and some do. Most are women. Most are students, but often they'll bring a faculty advisor with them, or a graduate student will come with them as kind of an advisor. So it's open to both men and women. But you know, since we've been predominantly a women's college, although now we are taking some men. We really want to keep that focus. That's a distinctive niche that we have that we can really, I think, build on. And, you know, probably the Women as Global Leaders Conference has given Zayed University more international exposure than maybe anything else we've done.
When WAGL started, there weren't very many international conferences of this
That's right.
genre.
This was about the first one, I think.
now there's it's almost as if people have looked at the model and said, okay, we can do this. Let's go and look at what they did.
I think that's true. I believe our first one I'm not aware of any other conferences for women leaders, but now, as you say, it seems like every month or so there's another one. I would argue that though none really focus as we do on women students and what they can do to a sustainable world. And this is going to be an exciting one because this is a big topic, and we have some really promising speakers lined up and a lot of interest from students abroad.
I also like the idea that there's workshops and things involved as well.
Yes.
So it's not just coming and listening to some plenaries and then going on a sightseeing tour. Usually, people find themselves wrapped into all sorts of workshops and things that they really get incredible value from it.
And one of the things that we introduced, I guess it was in 2006, is we had there are a number of our students attend the conference, but also there are these from other countries, and so we asked everybody to have a business card.
Yeah.
That had their university, their name, their university, and email contact, and maybe now it'd be SMS probably. And I mean, people were running out of those the first day. They didn't expect how many they would need. So that was the way that they could really build relationships and keep those relationships going.
This conference is going to be held at the new campus in Abu Dhabi. This campus, I had the pleasure of visiting it during the convocation. This is huge.
It's
giant.
It's awesome. It really is awesome.
Well, thank you very much for coming in and talking to us about Zayed University. It's where I spend all day, and it's great to be able to sit down with you. A pleasure and a privilege for me to have this time with you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, James. It's been an honor for me to be here. I've enjoyed it a great deal.
Thank you. Well, we'll talk again soon. We'll talk around WAGL time, and
I'll look for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Good.
This is Nightline. We're going to go to the headlines when we.